So it's a time for business network, supply chain business network we talk about. Okay, so let me it's my presentation. So let me share my screen now. Okay, so let me share my screen. So if you are able to see it, just please confirm, Deep.
I'm not able to see the screen.
Yeah, I think I did share it. It's coming up.
Yeah, now it is.
I think it's coming up.
Yeah, it is there. It is there.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. So we talk about now a little advanced topic, which is multi-echelon supply chain business networks. So we call it as MSCBN, something which is very advanced concept. So this is the next thing, what will happen in supply chain. I think many of organizations have already witnessing growth of supply chain business networks. So we talk about this today. So brief introduction, I am the CEO of Data Labs India Solutions. We are sponsoring this event. Thank you very much for everybody to join. So myself, I spent around 30 years in supply chain strategy in various industries, in agri-food, government, and the construction industry and mining industry. And many of our clients includes automotive, 3PL operators, mining, and food and beverages, retail kind of thing. So it has been a great journey to help organizations and learn from them in the real sense how the systems will solve the problems in supply chain and in strategy. Okay, so basically today we talk about multi-enterprise supply chain business network. We talk about briefly about multi-level order fulfillment, how this business network work, and how do we as a company, we are promoting Frusi as a supply chain business network solution to solve the problem of entire supply chain. We'll talk about this in coming 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so before going to supply chain, so let us position supply chain into the strategy. So this is, I would like to brief always about this. Let me put my pointer into this. Okay, so this is a strategy map. The top managers will understand how this is like a strategy map in the balance scorecard framework, where we talk about the outcomes. Okay, so it's a value for the shareholders and the profitability. Then what you give it to the customers, is it in the customer perspective? And then how these internal processes works. This is where we talk about. The key enabler for any organization, especially manufacturing, logistics, and supply chain, is the operations and supply chain processes, where this is where you generate value. So whether it is from the supply side, the manufacturing side, the delivery side, okay, so you create a value in your organization through this theme. We call this as a theme. Okay, and then of course this will be supported by the key capabilities, including supply chain skills, IT skills, blah, blah, blah. So the point is, supply chain is one of the key process group where it adds a lot of value to deliver your strategies. So this is the connect between your strategy and supply chain. Okay. Just before we delve into, just reading a recent article, it's a World Economic Forum report, very recently published. Okay, so if you take this, what are the key risks in this coming year 2024? Or if you see it, very interestingly, AI generated misinformation and disinformation. Okay, so that is something. Now everybody is talking about artificial intelligence generating things, and everybody is doing. Not everything is correct. Okay, so it could be misleading. So that is something which if you are using artificial intelligence very heavily, do it, use that information, but use it with caution, because the World Economic Forum says that this is the second biggest risk in 2024. Okay, so it may give a misinformation and you may take some decisions based on that and you end up in a problem. Okay, that is something. Now, the next three things, the key risks, if you see, disrupted supply chains for the goods and resources, disrupted supply chain for food, disrupted supply chain for energy. So that means if you take top 15 key risks in the businesses, so 3 to 4 are related to the supply chain. That shows that supply chain management is very, very, very important, and it's on the top of the agenda for every senior executive. Okay. Now, Pradeep and other gentlemen have very nicely explained what is supply chain management. I'm not going to talk about this. So, what is business network? Now, business network is basically a community of trading partners. It could be like a manufacturer, a distributor, it could be a retailer, and then end customer, or it could be a suppliers, a manufacturers, a Taiwan manufacturer. Okay, it could be it's an entire supply chain. How these community of trading partners collaborate, okay, to give the value to the end customers. That's how it is. Okay, that's a multi enterprise supply chain business network. So this is the trend now in India. It is a new concept, but it eventually we end up there. Okay, so in Europe and US, in some part of the world like Australia, it's already in progress. It's going on. So to talk about the multi supply chain business networks, so network representation and management is the key thing. Application functions and embedded analytics. These are the 3 areas where it is very important. Just to summarize what is, so you need to have a proper collaboration and trust between different supply chain partners to have a seamless flow of information, material, and finances. That's the thing. Now, supply chain, when we talk about it, is within the organization. Now we are extending to multiple organizations. That is something the business network is all about. Okay, why this multi-enterprise supply chain business network now is it's evolution. Okay, so now we started with the manual processes, then we came with the MRP systems, introduced ERP, electronic data interchange, and then we eventually came to supply chain systems, which is warehousing, blah, blah, blah. Then we got a rise in the cloud computing. So this cloud computing, powered by the internet revolution, made many opportunities for every business to grow. So one of the opportunities is the multi-enterprise business network. Okay, and this multi-enterprise business network is supported by the IoT and advanced analytics, the blockchain technology and artificial intelligence, and then sustainability. So these are all the latest topics what we are discussing nowadays, and this is all supporting to business networks. Okay, now let us take an example. How does that supply chain business network work? Okay, so let me look at the time so that I don't miss it. Okay, so we have let us take a classical supply chain. You have a manufacturer, then you have a tier 1, and then all the way backward supply chain, his logistics, storage, supplier, and then tier 1 supplier. Then you have a distribution center, retailer, transporter, and end customers. Let us look at it. Okay, so if you look at this, so what is going on is, so you have customer in a different thing. So it could be a restaurant, it could be the house, it could be a consumer, whatever. So he gives an order, okay, to the retailers. Now, if you talk about the e-commerce, so they generate, they make all procurement from the e-commerce side. How it works basically is, so you generate a purchase from any of the retailer. So what it would happen is, if the inventory is available of all the retailers, okay, on hand, and then the delivery could happen primarily from the primary retailer, which is closer, and then if not, delivery could happen from anybody. Okay, so that at the end of the day, meeting customer requirement is the key. So how this happen is through supply chain business network. If the retailer is not able to have the stock or in the stock, so it could send it to the distribution center, it could send it to the manufacturer, okay, and then from here, from manufacturer, it could all the way to connect to the customer. Now here, what is most important is, manufacturer is a different company, distribution center is a different company, and retailer is a different company, transporter is a different company. Now how these people interact with a seamless system that's what the business network is all about. Okay, so will happen in the supply chain business networks is basically you see multi-level order fulfillment. That means you can request and then it can be fulfilled from any layer. It could be from the retailer, distribution center, or manufacturer. So it can happen from any layer. Okay, so any level, and then it can consolidate and deliver to the customer at a given time with the meeting service level requirements. Demand sensing on response. What happens if the demand is very clear right from the customer to the supplier? Okay, so we talk about in practice, but it is very difficult. Each node in supply chain, they keep their part intact because, for example, they may put some safety stocks in either retailer or in the distribution center. They don't want to trust the whole supply chain. Okay, so they keep some safety stocks, which is more than what they needed. Then what happens is the whole supply chain will have a bullwhip effect. Okay, so instead of that, if we have a proper visibility in the whole supply chain, okay, so this demand sensing and response could help to reduce the inventory investments, okay, and also meet the requirements of the customers at the high customer service levels. Okay, so to enable that, we need supply chain visibility. Supply chain visibility, basically, we talk about the inventory, we talk about the order status, we talk about the capacities, okay, and we talk about the returns. What is the status of the returns in the supply chain, kind of thing. Multi-tier inventory, so the inventory at any given stage. Okay, automations. So enterprise automations are required. The reason is, if you take an example of automotive industry where you have a showroom, okay, and then this showroom is connected to the manufacturer. Maybe he has a distribution center also. Okay, so how does it work basically? If the manufacturer knows exactly all the showrooms where the requirement is there, so he can supply. You might, if you buy a car, okay, so sometimes it could happen that you get your slot early because somebody did not take the delivery in other showrooms. Okay, so this is quite possible. So that's what the supply chain business network, because here the manufacturer OEM is directly leading this business network and he is taking the whole control of the supply chain. So in that case, we need to have a integration between the dealer management system and then the ERP of the manufacturer. Then you integrate with everything with the order fulfillment process in the supply chain. So likewise, closed loop supply chain means it's a feedback mechanism. So risk and compliance, of course, ESG is a need of the hour. So you have to comply. We talk about ESG in more detail, maybe in some other session. So collaboration, you need to have a collaboration and trust. I'll show you one system, how it will work. Okay, supply chain finance. This is like, so if you have a visibility in the thing, in the supply chain, so supply chain finance is how you get a funding for your orders. Okay, so even accounts payable funding can be done in supply chain finance, the invoice settlements. Okay, so all these things can happen through supply chain finance and center of excellence. All these have to be managed through center of excellence. Otherwise, the supply chain business network does not work. Okay, so I think this is a quick overview. Let us look at the next slide. And we do, Frusi we build custom networks, business networks for the supply chain. Okay, so this gives you the overall scope. Okay, overall scope of business network. I don't go in detail. So whatever we have seen, the highlights. Okay, that's the details. I'll just take one step. Okay, so when you talk about multi-level order fulfillment, there are many things like order capturing, okay, order planning, capacity planning, and order processing, replenishment, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I will not go detail into this, but I will take a few minutes here. Okay, I will take a few minutes here. So let me just keep track of my time. Okay, so now it's, yeah. So in this slide, we talk about processes. So how does that work? Now, concept-wise, I just cleared it. How does that work? Let us take an example. How does it works? Okay. So here, customer order placement. So there could be any kind of ordering mechanism. It could be a paper and it could be the online order creation kind of thing. So customer makes an order, okay, and then delivery will happen. Delivery will happen to the customer. So this is one cycle. Okay, this is the cycle where the customer is involved directly. But how does that work backwards is something which we need to see. So there could be a replenishment order from retailer to distribution center, and then from the distribution center to retailer. So don't keep it in mind. There could be transfer orders from one distribution center to another distribution center, or there could be transfer orders from one retailer to another retailer. There is a possibility. Okay, that how does that? I'll show you with one small example. Okay, so then there could be a transfer orders from distribution to. This is little quite straightforward. A manufacturer to distributor is a quite straightforward. Okay, then it will have a procurement part all the way go to the suppliers. How does that work? So this is how the whole business network work. Okay, and in this, you need to have every node and link in the supply chain have to be automated somehow. Order processing, delivery processing, inventory, visibilities, notifications. So one important point here is notifications. I talk more about this later. But when you make an order from one retailer to a distribution center or distribution to center to distribution center, so you need to know exactly what is the status of your order. If you don't know, then whole purpose of business network does not hold good. Okay, so you need to know exactly what is the status. Now, just like in the e-commerce, we make an order and we know the status where it is. When you get a parcel from DHL or something, we know exactly where is the product is all about. Okay, and traceability. Okay, proof of delivery. Proof of delivery, it has to come from even the last mile delivery to all the way to the distribution center, so that there is no problem in the legal things. Okay, the transportation visibility and customer service. Okay, let us take one example of multi-level order fulfillment. How does it work? Okay, so order placement. Okay, so order input from multiple ways. It could be online, mobile app, or web apps, stock availability checks. So all these things can happen in order placement. Consolidation. Okay, so this could be a manufacturing hub too. Okay, so it could all the way consolidate. It could be through multiple retailers or from distribution centers. Fulfillment process. So now you directly you can do retailer to customer or retailer to retailer and customer. So anything is possible. How to do this? Okay, so of course that will end up with the last mile delivery in case of the packages, or it could be any other things. In this example we use the consumables like last mile delivery, and of course one most important point is the supply chain never end only after delivery. There should be a proper returns management. Okay, so if you don't have the proper returns management, everything gets collapsed because the customer don't trust. If you don't have a returns mechanism, let us take an example. When you buy something and you are unable to return it in the e-commerce, so you will be very afraid to buy, or you will make sure 100% this does not create a problem. Okay, likewise. So to do that, how does it will happen is you need to have a master data properly defined in a way everybody is agreeing on it. Okay, so the screens should be very clear. Okay, so this part, I will give you an example later. Okay, so another point here is, so demand sensing and response. How does it work? Okay, so it's an example. It's not really one solution fit for everything, but it will give you an idea how this work. So demand sensing and response, basically, you need to have a real-time integration with point of sales plus sales. Okay, so even you can have some kind of social media integrations kind of thing. Okay, so we need to have a real-time integrations with the demand part. So demand signal repository, store demand data and store demand signal data. So this is the technology part of it, how you take the data and build it. Artificial intelligence play a key role here. Okay, and then we talk about forecasting analytics. So you take the data, historical data from ERP, and then from the feedback from the customer, satisfaction levels, everything. and then you come up with the data set, and then you generate forecast with any technology, any method. It could be time series basically. So you generate all the methods, okay, and then you do aggregation and disaggregation, because when you do the forecasting, it does not end there by the system. So you apply your ideas, you add, consolidate, and then you disintegrate. For example, your demand is coming like at 1250 tons. Okay, so you want to have like a 1300 tons. So you aggregate it and then disaggregate to the SKU level, so that you have your forecast properly distributed across your SKUs and product groups in a proportional way based on the need, by the way. Okay, so this is how forecasting analytics engine done. Then, of course, the next is the collaborative planning, how you collaborate with your supply chain partners. And then, of course, the demand-driven replenishment. This is for the planning part, collaboration and all. When all the replenishments happen with the push, basically with the pull, basically. So you pull the demand, okay? So you send the materials to the distributor or manufacturer or whoever, okay? So all these things are comes under your demand sensing and response. Supply chain execution, of course, it is all input to the supply chain execution. This is where we talk about the tire touches the road kind of thing, okay? So, and this is powered by continuous monitoring and evaluation, okay? How you do that. And then process integrations. You need to have a robust integration to do that, okay? I don't. Now, in this screen, so we talk about, so how does that integration part work? Okay, this is one example we would like to brief. How does that integration work in the whole supply chain, where it's very nicely said, but how does it really work? So this is where, if you see here, the supply chain business network will is able to connect to all systems. Okay, whether it could be ERP or global trade, warehousing, MES, dealer management, or okay, and then point of sales and e-commerce kind of thing. And this is powered by your integration, IIoT, and then cloud computing, blockchain. Okay, and then some areas the blockchain participation is required, especially if there is any problem, any trust issue is there in the supply chain, where especially if you have a supplier, and then especially when you have an international supplier where you cannot have trust, so blockchain component can be embedded into the business network. And then, of course, you need to have a collaborative mechanism. Okay, recently we have like a ULIP, so Unified Logistics Information Provided. Indian government has introduced this. So this is like a one portal where you can integrate all your needs with the government approvals kind of thing, like the e-way bills, e-invoicing, and everything, the container tracking and tracing, even the FASTag integrations, everything can be done through ULIP. So it's a new, so still phase 2 is about to release. So so this is how supply chain business networks get connected to all your supply chain components. Okay. Now, if you take, how does that work in real time? Is if you take an automotive industry, so it's like a OEM is the leader in managing its in the business networks. You have a tier 1 suppliers and then the tier 2 suppliers. Okay, so if you have a global vendors, they should be able to get into the warehousing. And then we have a 3PL operators for the transportation. Okay, even the warehousing, the open warehousing within this warehouse within the OEM, it could be managed by 3PLs. Okay, and they will have their own systems. So now, if you talk about supply chain trading partners, so here you can see 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 with the OEM leads this. Okay, and then 3PL. Okay, and then you have more like you have dealers and customers. So many people can be connected through business network and then have a shared system for a given supply chain process. You cannot have everything automated. What is a key problem in this particular industry that can be solved through business network? For automotive industry, it's a multi-level order fulfillment is the key area where you have order booking right from the customer and how it goes to manufacturer, and then how you deliver the product and then make the billing. Okay, so how that is the area where we talk about. In the pharma, it is very important because you talk about the whole supply chain in the pharmacies, right from the pharmacy. Okay, now currently what they are doing is they have a mobile app, so where they make an order for their for the supplier. Okay, but that is only limited to one link. Okay, if we are able to have the complete visibility across the supply chain, so that is something business network. I think that's going to come in pharma very soon. Okay, and this is like a milling supply chain where you have a visibility of all your manufacturing capabilities and okay, your manufacturing capabilities and the supply chain right from the overseas suppliers to the end customers. Okay. Now, what we did in Frusi supply chain business networks is we just put every process required to operate in the supply chain, and then we designed our solutions in such a way, modular in such a way, okay, so we can track of connect everything, all the products, okay, so through business network. So the advantage what we have is we do have our own solutions in global trade, the transportation, warehousing, manufacturing execution, supply chain planning, control tower, asset management, ERP, and optimization. So we do have all modular products. All will be connected into the network, and then we give the solution to solve all the things. And also on top of it, all whatever systems your network trading partner have, then we can connect them together likewise. Okay, so I want to clarify. Some people think that we talk about supply chain control tower, and then now Abdul is talking about business networks. Okay, what is that? So I just put a comparative statement here. Supply chain control tower is only up to you. So how you operate. So what is your supply chain area where you can control, and the rest of the information can be integrated. But you don't have that collaboration mechanism in the supply chain control tower. It's very limited. But in multi-enterprise supply chain, okay, so you have a complete collaboration, and then you have an order fulfillment process. So that is a key difference. So in one way, so supply chain business networks is more advanced thing than a supply chain control tower, we can say. But it is not. It's a two different thing. If you are happy with a supply chain control tower, you don't have to collaborate with any of your vendors, manufacturers. It's okay. You don't have to worry about it. But supply chain enterprise business networks, especially when you are talking about 4PL operators, 5PL operators, business network will work, because if you are talking about delivery to particular restaurants, and then you have a stock, and then you have collaborated with your manufacturer or farmers or farm groups. So this whole supply chain have to be collaborated. So that's where the business network will play. This one example is very appropriate. 4PL operators. 3PL is directly, so 3PL don't worry about the billing part. 4PL will worry about the billing part, and then settling the finance payments also from vendor to customer. Okay, so how the whole supply chain he manage it. So for 4PL operators to be successful, he need to have an integration with his vendors, and then your customers. Okay, so that you can settle you can do the order fulfillment properly. Okay, and then also the payment part also can be settled. Okay. So before taking up any questions, how we build supply chain business network is, it's not really a sales pitch, but the idea behind this is we have like a manufacturing 4.0 solution, which is MES basically, or manufacturing operations management, we call it recently. So warehouse management, it's a multi-warehouse concept. So that's how the idea started. So logistics and fleet management, logistics and global trade. So vendor portal, okay, planning, okay, and then we do have a small supply chain control tower. Again, it's a custom solution. So we do have a strategy management solution, and we have a ERP in place where some of the trading partners are small, but they don't have a ERP in place. So we can plug the ERP also, so that everything gets connected. And we have very good practice in SAP. So most of the larger organizations in OEM or something, we can just always get connected to the SAP or Microsoft kind of things. Okay, the solutions, and then to give you the seamless flow. Okay, So I think this is the idea where we talk about connecting all the modules together like this. Okay, so we generate the business network to solve the problem. Okay, so I think this is the question we would like to do it. So before, I think I have Deep, if you correct me, we have I think 15 minutes, right? If I okay, so I would like to
That's right.
quickly, yeah. So I would like to quickly let me undo this. I will just show you how this work. So let me. I just kept it open. Okay, how does that real? Maybe you have so many things so far. How does that really work? I'll show you. Okay, I'll just show you one good example. I'll not show you all, but I'll show you one good example. Let us say you have here. Okay, so you have a customer warehouse. This is very important. So this is a company, it's a trading partner. This is another company. Okay, so you control by warehouse, or it could be distribution center, it could be retailer, whatever you call it. So you can define whatever you want to define. Okay, so here, if you, for example, you want to order from this guy. Okay, so you can just go to your orders and then create new order. So you all get the list of agreed products. Okay, so you can just select any one of it. Okay, so just select like a 10 kilograms. Okay, so add to cart. So very simple. So and it's basically a retailer kind of thing. So view cart. How does it look like? Okay, and then you have a delivery date when you want it. Okay, so update it. Okay, so then create an order. Okay, so you create an order. So this order is created successfully. So the other part of the vendor sees this order in his system. So this is okay. So this is he can see just now I ordered it in okay. So it created a delivery. So this is the order what we have seen. Okay. So you can see it. WT5 is the order. So you got a confirmation. Okay. So if you see, you can see the status. He has created on 3rd and just now. Okay. So you can see it. Now what we can do is you can do that. Okay. And then you can just start delivering it. He can deliver. So you can just say customer quantity, just you deliver it. Okay. And then approve. Okay. So it gets delivered. There, of course, before delivery, there is some steps you can do, especially in the workforce, because somebody has to take the responsibility, right? The people who do that. Okay. So if we have that in place, so you can do that. He can start to select. Okay. So you can select it, then start. Okay. So I think these that what I selected now. I don't remember, but is that okay? I don't know. Okay. Okay. Anyways, okay. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is, whatever you select and then you deliver. So you can see it gets delivered, and you can track exactly what is happening in this. Okay. Likewise, so you can track. So you can just complete the order, and then he keep tracking about it. Then once he complete integration, the information goes back. Now here, when you talk about here, it could be all your supply chain. Okay, based on your authority, you will have access. Okay, so like a retailer, a distribution center, manufacturer, so anybody can have. They work in a unified way, and then these people in the OEM or something, they can have a look at the uh, warehouse layout. Okay, this is a warehouse layout, a pictorial view, no more tables and something. You can see, you can look at it. Okay, so this is a warehouse like layout exactly resembling your physical layout. So you can see what it is, and you can just look at it. You can just put your cursor, you can see the stock position. Okay, so you can see the stock position. You can click the details if you want. So you can see the whole inventory details. Okay, so you can see the floor level availability, space availability. Okay, so you can see everything, whatever you need it, you can see it. And also, if you have any put away positions, so for example, now if you have any put away positions, you can just click on it and then you complete it. So likewise, if I have to select any user, okay, so this is the put away is due from a particular user. I can just click on it, okay, and then just click on it, start. So I can do the put away process directly from there itself, from the layout itself. Okay, so all these very advanced artificial intelligence powered layout. Okay, so it's all embedded here in this. So this is powered by all security with all the supply chain business networks. It is connected. Now we use these components and to build supply chain business network. Okay. Now this is related to I'll just lower a little so that I can show, because if you have a fleet management, what happens is, so if you have a fleet, so it is connected. So when product is delivered from one warehouse to another warehouse, so you can just connect to fleet management system. So you can see how this is get connected. Okay, so you can see the loads. Basically, you can see the loads, how the step, what will happen in each stage. You have a trips. Okay, so it gets connected. How that is working. So likewise, you can see the complete. Of course, here you have a proof of deliveries and everything. You can take a pictures in a mobile app and then upload it, and it is integrated with the ULIP. So you can do all, of course, vehicle management, blah blah blah. You can see that we have one more session to take you to the deep dive into the solution. So likewise, this is connected. So warehousing, fleet management is connected now. Okay. Now I'll show you about manufacturing execution. So this is if you have a manufacturing unit, okay, and if you have a SAP or something, you connect it. If you don't have, so take through CMES, and then you do all production processes and everything. You can do it. Okay, so I'll not go deep into this. It's a limited time. So you can just cover up everything into the thing, and then I will also take you maybe supply chain planning. Okay, so it's AI powered supply chain planning when you talk about. Okay, so it's very simple. So you have to select a file. It is connected again. If you have a file, if you connect it, if you historical data. If you have a multiple business network, this will be connected to your system. So this is like a year data, for example. We give you a sample. Then you can say how many years you want to generate forecast. Like I want to generate for 6 months. I just run it. Then what happens is, okay, so it will take time because the AI engine will run everything. They take the data, run all the models. It will take maybe a few seconds. Okay, so it will run all kind of forecasting techniques, and then finally it will give you the best fit. Okay, so just give me a minute. Let it work on the back end. Okay, so basically, I'll just wait. It's coming up. You see here. It takes time because it all depends on the processor. So we put a small processor for this. Now you see here it's January to December, and then you have like 6 months. Okay, so you are getting 6 months forecast. Now you can see what is the type of forecasting you want to use. For example, double exponential smoothing you want to try. So you can see what is the value you have got. Okay, how does it work? So if you have like a ARIMA, okay, so you can see how that ARIMA is working, and you can also see the values, coefficients, alpha, beta, gamma. How many times we do forecasting? I'm also supply chain engineer. How this alpha value I give it manually, right? The system calculates alpha value, beta value, and if you have your own inputs, you can input into the file. You can have your forecast ready for you. That so by default you can have a best fit. Okay, so you can select any product line, any location, so any particular product. Okay, so you can select and then you can just go. So it will only do that for the particular, and then it will give you what is based on the whatever data you have, and then you have the historical data also in place. You have a logs. So this is one quick example how this is done. So now I'll just take you with a limited time. I have any questions? in this session. Okay, so I'll just stop share if you would like, and then I can share it any time, and then take up questions. Okay. So any questions you have it? I have another 5 minutes so that I can cover up some part of the presentation. Okay. So basically, while you compile the questions, I'll just try to answer it. Okay, I'll give an example how this multi enterprise business network goes. In 4PL operator, 4PL operator, what he does basically is he procure material on behalf of your customers, and then he integrate with the vendor. He could be a manufacturer, or it could be a farmer, or whatever. Okay, and then he pays from his pocket. He pays it, and then he deliver to the vendor, the customer, on a given service level concepts on a daily basis or whatever, and then he get a payment. So if there is any problem in the whole delivery process, it will be adjusted in the supply chain. For example, you are selling some kind of vegetables or something where the final weight is not known. So it will percolate all the way through supply chain and vendor based on mutual collaborative mechanism. So you have agreements between the supply chain vendors to settle this. So this is a classical business network scenario where we are currently working on it. Okay, of course, we are also working in a couple of industries where we can do this supply chain business network in real time. Okay, I think that's a main part. Okay. If there is any questions, if anybody, please raise your hand so that if you have any questions, you can be allowed to ask a question. I think there is a YouTube streaming going on. More than 150 people are attending that. So if there is any question, please feel free. Okay, for your questions, because I was the one who coordinate questions, but now for my questions, I have to coordinate. Deep, you can coordinate for me if there is any raising hands. Okay. So otherwise, we take an opportunity to thank all the speakers, the attendees, the participants. Okay, and then we will have one more very detailed case study of supply chain business networks in coming days. Okay, with a real life example, and give you more inputs to you how this supply chain transformation is going on in India. Okay, and then we add value into the supply chain industry from our side, from the solution side. Okay, so thank you very much. I take this opportunity to thank you all.